Hello there and welcome to Lunchtime News here on TV1. You're joining me, David Paldano. Now before we head into your stories in more detail, let's first take a look at your headlines this afternoon. Signs of US election results delaying further. JMOA questions about bringing down test kits before the health sector proves COVID-19 antigens. Showers exceeding 100 millimeters expected in several parts of the country. Now, America has still not decided on who their next president will be, as counting still continues over the polls that have been brought in during this election period. Now, to give us the very latest updates on what is going on in the United States and to really make us understand how it works, we're joined by Azra Hassan in our very own newsroom. Azra, it's over to you.
Thank you, David. Good afternoon to you and a very good afternoon to all our viewers. I'm here reporting to you from the newsroom to give you an update about the ongoing US election. Now, it seems like that the results are still delaying and the final result of the US election is yet to be issued. If you look at the screen behind me, Joe Biden has secured 264 electoral colleges as of yet, and incumbent President Donald Trump has secured 214, and 270 electoral colleges or electoral votes are required to win the election. Now, there are several states that are yet to issue their final results. For instance, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, and Nevada and Alaska, they are yet to issue their final results of the election, and it seems like Georgia is in the verge of releasing the results, but they are not officially out yet. Now, speaking about the matter, US President Donald Trump said that if legal votes are counted, he would win the presidential election, trying to give a signal that he will not in any way concede to Democrat Joe Biden.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. If you count the votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly, but a lot of votes came in late. I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio. To name just a few, we won these and many other victories despite historic election interference from big media, big money, and big tech. The counting in Pennsylvania and other key states are all part of a corrupt Democrat machine that you've written about, and for a long time you've been writing about the corrupt Democrat machine. I went to school there, and I know a lot about it. It hasn't changed. It's a long time ago, and hasn't changed. It's gotten worse.
While incumbent US President Donald Trump is so confident about winning the election, Democrat Joe Biden said that he had no doubt that he will be able to defeat the incumbent president, requesting everyone to stay calm as votes are yet being counted.
In America, the vote is sacred. It's how people of this nation express their will, and it is the will of the voters, no one, not anything else, that chooses the President of the United States of America. So each ballot must be counted, and that's what we're going to see going through now. And that's how it should be. Democracy is sometimes messy. It sometimes requires a little patience as well. But that patience has been rewarded now for more than 240 years with a system of governance that's been the envy of the world. And we continue to feel, Senator and I, we continue to feel very good about where things stand. We have no doubt that when the count is finished, Senator Harris and I will be declared the winners. So I ask everyone to stay calm, all the people to stay calm.
Now, while the counting is underway, there are several protests taking place across the United States. For instance, US President Donald Trump's supporters stood on the opposite side of a street in downtown Philadelphia, separated from the supporters of presidential candidate and former Vice President Joe Biden. And by the metal fences, police officers and mountain bikes covering both sides. Now, police in Philadelphia are also investigating an apparent plot to attack Pennsylvania Convention Center, where votes are being counted. Police have seized a vehicle and arrested a man, the report says.
Tensions rose in some places as the ballot counting dragged on 2 days after polls closed, with a second day of sometimes dueling street demonstrations over the integrity of the election. Democrat Joe Biden inched nearer to victory over Donald Trump in an exceedingly close U.S. election that hinged on razor-thin margins in a handful of states, while the Republican president launched a flurry of lawsuits hoping to slow down his opponent.
You can't stop the revolution!
As the protests are still ongoing, New York police arrested at least 50 people due to the protests that were held in the country.
Protesters wound up through Manhattan Street throughout the afternoon and evening in demonstrations demanding a thorough count of ballots cast in the U.S. presidential race, calling for racial justice and criticizing police. Reuters could not independently determine what led to the arrest, but foreign media reported police and protesters clashed in the city's West Village, where several handcuffed people could be seen being led to a waiting police bus. Later, at least 5 people were seen being put into a police van near Union Square.
All in all, the votes are still being counted and it is still uncertain as to who will take charge of the United States of America. This is all from the newsroom for the time being, but we will keep you updated on what's happening with the US election. Until then, it is over to you, David.
Now, as Azra said, you can stay tuned with News First as we bring you the very latest updates once the counting has been released and once the final results are out. You can stay tuned with News First and our social media platforms for the very latest updates. Now, shifting our attention from the United States to here in Sri Lanka, 11,316 PCR tests were carried out yesterday amidst a sudden surge in COVID-19 infections. The National Operations Center for the Prevention of COVID-19 Outbreaks said that 568,774 PCR tests have been carried out in the country so far.
Sri Lanka's tally of COVID-19 infections has risen to 12,570. This was after 383 individuals tested positive for the virus yesterday. All patients detected yesterday were linked to the COVID-19 cluster in Paliagoda. Accordingly, the total cases linked to the Minuwangoda and Paliagoda COVID-19 clusters has risen to 9,092. Official figures show that 5,918 patients are currently under medical care in the country. 765 patients had recovered this morning, raising the total number of recoveries to 6,623. The Health Ministry announced that 5 patients had died due to COVID-19 yesterday. Meanwhile, 43 individuals had returned to their homes upon completing the quarantine period. The National Center for the Prevention of COVID-19 Outbreaks said the 63,644 individuals have completed the quarantine period in the country. 2,420 individuals are currently undergoing quarantine at 30 centers that are managed by the Tri-Forces. Meanwhile, the Health Ministry has decided to introduce antigen tests to detect COVID-19 patients in the country. Dr. Saman Ratnayaka, who serves as the Health Ministry's Deputy Director General of Laboratory Services, said that antigen test samples are being tested at laboratories at present. He added that these test kits had been donated by the World Health Organization. The Deputy Director General noted that antigen tests would assist in quickly identifying COVID-19 patients.
This latest map portrays how dangerous zones have emerged in the country due to the spread of COVID-19. This map indicates that there are several dangerous zones in the country. It is dangerous to see patients being identified from prisons. Therefore, the authorities need to make and announce timely decisions. A situation has arisen in which special attention must be paid towards the death toll due to the virus. We have observed a spike in deaths recently. If we analyze the last 16 deaths, a majority of them have been reported from the limits of the Colombo Municipal Council. Therefore, we must pay special attention towards this. Is there any reason as to why the spread of the virus has resulted in several deaths in the Colombo municipality limits? This matter must be subjected to an investigation. The probe into this must begin immediately. The antigen test was introduced as a substitution to the PCR test. Currently, a validation process is underway to determine whether this kit would suit our country. In our view, this validation process has been unnecessarily long. Specialists point out that under emergency circumstances, this process can be completed in 48 hours. So we urge the authorities to complete the validation process immediately and after determining whether it is suitable for our country, to implement measures to import them as soon as possible. The media reports that a large stock of these antigen test kits have already been imported. As the Government Medical Officers Association, we are concerned as to how these kits were imported if the validation process is yet to be completed. Who gave approval for this? If the validation process determines that the antigen tests are of no use, what will we do to the stocks of antigen test kits that have allegedly been imported to the country?
රජවයින්දාරින් සංගමයේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි වැලිඩේෂන් process එක ඉවර වෙලා නැත්තම් ලොකු තොගයක් ලංකාවට ගෙන්නන්න. ගෙන්නලා තියෙනවා නම් මම හිතනවා මම දැක්කා මම වාර්තා තියෙනවා ගෙන්නලා කියලා ගෙන්නලා තියෙනවා නම් එහෙම කරන්න කවුද අවසර දුන්නේ? වැලිඩේෂන් process එකේ අවසන් තීන්දුව වුණොත් එහෙම මේක වැඩක් නැහැයි කියලා. අපි මේ ගෙන්නපු තොගයට මොකද කරන්නේ?
Meanwhile, the National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 Outbreaks said that the Bulat Kohupitiya police area and Galigamur Pradeshya Sabha area in the Kegaul district have been removed from the list of isolated areas. However, the quarantine curfew remains in effect across the Western Province, Ahaliagoda and Kuliyapitiya police areas and the Kurunegala Municipal Council. Police media spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana said 139 individuals have been arrested during the past 24 hours for violating quarantine curfew regulations. Police has also seized 26 vehicles.
Residents of Sundarapola in Runugala have been affected due to unorganized dumping of waste in the area.
Residents in the village of Sundarapola have been badly affected due to the disorganized dumping of garbage in the area. This is because the Kurunegala Municipal Council has identified the village as a dumping ground for waste. The growing pile of garbage has posed several health risks to the helpless villagers. The request of these villagers is to protect their health by introducing a proper mechanism for waste disposal.
Showers or thunder showers is expected to occur at several places in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces and in the Gaul and Mathura districts.
The Met Department forecasts that heavy showers above 100 millimeters can be expected across several places in the island. Showers will also occur in the coastal areas of the eastern and northern provinces. The Met Department urged the general public to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Misty conditions can also be expected at several areas in the central, Sabaragamuwa and Uva provinces and in the Gaul and Mathura districts. Showers or thunder showers may occur at several places in the western, eastern and northwestern provinces and coastal areas in the evening or night. Wind speeds in coastal areas around the island is expected to increase to around 10 to 20 kilometers per hour.
Newsfirst, which has etched an indelible mark in Sri Lanka's electronic news production history, was born on a day like this 25 years ago.
The MTV-MBC Networks, that is a subsidiary of the Capital Maharaja Group, launched its first news broadcast in March 1995. The first news bulletins were aired through radio channels Sirasa FM and Yes FM to keep the public abreast with the latest updates. On the 6th of November 1995, the network took one step further, taking to television news broadcasting via the MTV channel. Since then, the network has continued to grow and has seen the emergence of television brands such as Newsfirst, Sirasa TV, Shakti TV and TV1, and radio channels Sirasa FM, Shakti FM, Yes FM, Y FM and Legends FM. Newsfirst goes one step further to disseminate news among the public via its website www.newsfirst.lk and its Facebook pages in all 3 languages. For 25 years, Newsfirst has always placed the country first and has continued to act in the best interest of the people. The support extended by the public towards successful humanitarian operations such as Sahanayatra to assist the people during natural disasters cannot be forgotten. Newsfirst will continue to render its service to the people under its tagline, Your Life, Our News. By today, the Gammadda movement, launched by the network, has also won the trust of several people facing hardships in the country. Newsfirst has set a precedent in terms of news reporting in the 21st century and will continue its unwavering journey to serve the people.
And with that, we wrap up lunchtime news here on TV1. For more news, log on to our award-winning website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First team, I'm David Paldano.